Welcome back to the big studio, usually the home of Daily Wager. We kick Kazarian right out of there today to bring you Bet. He's Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is your Thursday edition. Good friend of the show, Dalen Cuff, is going to join us in just a little bit to preview the round of 16 for Euro 2020. Yes, it's Euro 2020 despite being the year 2021.
Back.
None of us can figure that out. We've got picks for NHL Game 6 tonight between the Knights and the Canadiens. We've got picks for Game 3 of the Suns and the Clippers, and we've also got the return of Sucker Bet. For those of you who have been diligently studying college football or who have been falling behind the curve, check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. We've been rolling out a ton of stuff with our favorite win totals in the Power 5 conferences throughout the week. We're actually going to roll some of that stuff out today as well.
Yep.
All right.
Smells just better in here. It's like, you know, when you get called up from AAA and you finally get to take a charter plane somewhere and stretch out the feet a little bit.
There you go.
Baby, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Welcome to the show. And with that in mind, we begin today's show with the good word. A very simple premise. We read a statement, and then the first word that comes to mind, we put on the iPad. We try not to screw up the technology, and from there, it's off and running. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, this is our NFL edition of the good word. Number one, the New York Football Giants are plus 250 to make the playoffs this year.
I am going to.
Oh, it's happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
This
It's
is
big and
glamorous.
Again, we're in the big show here. Offensive.
You're offended by this?
Somewhat, because I think the Cowboys and the Washington football team are more likely. However, if the Giants are to have a successful season and exceed expectations, we need to see offensive coordinator Jason Garrett be better and offensive trigger man, a.k.a. quarterback Daniel Jones, be better. Also might want to see their best offensive weapon, Saquon Barkley, be healthy for this season. All of this kind of ties into whether or not the offense allows this team to realize its full potential or not, Joe. Right now, for me, there are too many questions about Garrett and Jones specifically for this team to be considered a good bet to make the postseason.
I did not hear a word you just said. I saw you draw a line through your face, and I was just fascinated by that. And then before I knew it, you were wrapping up your take. And I'm assuming it was a good one.
Let me just add
but that's all this is right now.
Let me add a little more hair
An
to
assumption.
the crown back there, if anyone.
A callback from yesterday's
joke.
joke.
Watching yesterday.
All right,
I can do that.
Let's keep it cooking. I am going to go with Busta. As in Busta Rhymes. As in, give me some more. Plus 250, not enough for me to get involved here. I want to get involved. Yeah. I really want to get involved. I looked at this and I thought to myself, I could see the Giants making the playoffs, but not at plus 250. The first thing we have to remember is take a good long look at the NFC West. Stacked. How many of the wild card positions are they going to grab? Most likely, if the Giants are going to get there, it's going to have to be by winning the division, which is winnable. But right now, they are not better than the Washington football team, in my opinion. You've been high on them as well. I think they're better than the Eagles. I'm from the area. I love the Eagles. They're going to stink this year. I'm fairly confident in that. And then there's Dallas. Should be good on offense. Will be suspect on defense, but could be hovering around. Too much on Daniel Jones's plate at plus 250. Give me some more if you want to get me involved.
Yo, flip.
All right.
Where them G's
Question
at?
number 2. Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey's rushing yardage prop is 1,025.5 yards. That
me
got all the way to 1,025 and a third yards if you lost on that under.
I would hate that.
Kidding.
So a synonym to the first word that we used, insulting.
You are taking all of these personally today.
It's insulting to Christian McCaffrey, a man of his talents, that this bar is set so low, especially in a 17-game season as opposed to a 16-game season, as opposed to Saquon Barkley. By all accounts, McCaffrey well ahead of where Saquon is in terms of returning to full health. And McCaffrey, more than almost any running back in the NFL, owns the lion's share of touches at that position. He doesn't share with anyone. He is a complete ball hog as a running back. So it's insulting to those who realize that McCaffrey gets 90% of the touches for the Carolina Panthers backfield. I see no reason why that changes in 2021 when he's back to full health. If Sam Darnold wants to make that step to becoming a franchise quarterback, he's going to need to lean on Christian McCaffrey and the run game, and of course McCaffrey's hands out of the backfield. So this is an insultingly low total for someone as good as McCaffrey.
Can't wait to see your third word. You got a nice little theme going here today. I am going to give you this in terrible script. Wallet. As in take this wallet and put it on the over, because that's where I'm going with this. A few years ago in 2018, Christian McCaffrey crossed this threshold with no problem, only on 219 carries. That's an average of 5 yards per carry. Now he's got an extra game. And oh, by the way, he crossed the threshold big time in 2019 as well. Didn't last year because of the injury, but now he's coming back. The key is what you mentioned. There's no threat in the backfield. They drafted Chuba Hubbard, the running back out of Oklahoma State, but he was a 4th-round selection. So maybe he'll get some carries. But ultimately, this guy's going to be a big part of the offense, and we only need 1,026 yards to get there. Injury is the biggest concern. How much of a concern is it to you?
What's a bigger concern to me is how you spelled wallet.
Did I get it wrong? Did I only go with one T?
Wallet. There's 2 T's.
Oh.
And there should only be the one there. I feel like John Madden here.
For
See, what he did here is he ran out of
T.
bounds here, and he put a second T there, and boom, tough acting, Tenactin.
You know, fun fact, if you want to go inside my brain, about a minute before we started this, I thought to myself, I didn't fact check whether or not I was spelling this right, and I thought, you know what? I got it. The arrogance prevailed yet again.
All right,
I don't even know where we're going. Let's
Hopefully
take these notes and get them out of here. Number 3.
Seattle.
Seattle.
Nice. You had that land on your little table there.
If only I had prepared for wallet like I had prepared for that. All right, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson is 20-1 to win the NFL MVP this year.
Okay, kind of a similar tone to what I've set up there. Shocking!
This is spelled correctly.
That is, as to best of our knowledge, that is spelled correctly. It's shocking to me, Russell Wilson, just like the fact that before last season he had never received an MVP vote. It's shocking that we could get someone of Russell's ability, 1, who's as important to the success of his team, 2, no Russell, Seahawks, no bueno. Russell in there, they can win the division each and every year. It is shocking to get 20-1 on someone of Russell's caliber and his importance to an individual team. So I would run with my wallet, 1 T.
Or that wallet.
Get out as many Benjamins as you can there and put a nice little bet on Russell at 21, because I don't think those odds are going to get at all better throughout the season.
Okay, I will give you this little callback, if I was doing a Netflix special here, to an earlier joke regarding Busta Rhymes. Give me, as in, give me my wallet back, because I like this bet a heck of a lot better than I like the Christian McCaffrey bet. And I believe I may have spelled this correctly, at least in the sense of gimme. You hit a lot of key points. Russell Wilson, at some point for his career, is going to get the Susan Lucci Award, which is the Emmy given to you at some point because you've been so great, yet you've never won the award. At some point, they're just going to give it to you. If you don't know who Susan Lucci is, I've got a better one for you. Denzel Washington. When he won the Oscar for Training Day, he was fantastic. But everyone knows Denzel was getting that as a Lifetime Achievement Award. He had been so much better in so many other movies prior to that point and never won. So Training Day, he was awesome. They gave him the award. Not sure if you would disagree there, but at some point, Russell Wilson is going to be Susan Lucci from All My Children or Denzel Washington. He's going to get that award. And at 20-1, remember last year, halfway through the season, he was the favorite.
Yes, he was.
He was like 2 or 3-1. He's going to be there again. 20-1 is a very good price. All right.
So I did some fact checking there, and for the contraction of give me, it's Gimme. The way that you spelled it is how you award someone a gimme putt on the green.
You would have made it for an excellent hall monitor or perhaps police officer if you aspired to get that far. Why don't you back off my notes and focus on yourself? All right, combo picks, NBA, NHL, postseason edition. Not a strong night yesterday as the show continues for me. 0-2. I whiffed on the hockey game. I whiffed on the basketball game. Thankfully, you went 1-0-1. So combined this week, 2-3-1. We're looking to get it back. This is our final opportunity. Are you ready?
It's all right. You carried me on Monday. Now let's both lift each other up like the wind beneath each other's wings.
Monday feels so long ago. Last time I tasted some success. All right, here we go. It's Game 3 of the NBA Western Conference Finals. Chris Paul is back. Kawhi Leonard is still out. The Suns are laying 1. The total is 221.5 against the Los Angeles Clippers as the series shifts to LA. Side total prop, what do you got?
I got a player prop that I definitely love, and it pertains to CP3's return. I'm going to play over 25.5 points plus assists. Go back to that series against the Lakers. Chris Paul averaged less than 10 points and less than 8 assists, less than 26 minutes on the floor. Joe, as you know, his shoulder was banged up.
Yeah.
Then we see him in the sweep against Denver. 25 points, 10 assists per game, and 35 minutes per game. Now, he had to miss the first 2 games of this series. Why? Not because of the shoulder. It was health and safety protocols. He should be fully healthy, and rested and rejuvenated to come out there in a conference final in LA and try and beat up on the Clippers over 25.5 points and assists for a guy who averaged 35 plus in his last series out.
I hope it happens because I'm laying the 1 point with the Phoenix Suns in this game. A lot of people will think the series shifts. Maybe the Clippers find something. I don't know what they're going to find that's better than what they got in game 2. The officials were trying to hand that game to them in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't take it. Paul George missing free throws. And let's not forget about the fact that the Phoenix Suns shot 23% from deep in that game. 23%. Worst performance of the entire postseason. So much so, in fact, it was their 6th worst shooting night in 84 games this season. Do we really see that happening again? It was a gift on a silver platter handed to the Clippers, and they couldn't cash in. So now the Suns are going to come into their house, where they're 4-1 on the road this postseason, and they are going to lay just 1 point with Chris Paul coming back. I don't know where in the tank LA is going to find something else. I will lay the point with the Phoenix Suns. Let's look ahead to tomorrow night, Game 2 between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. Eastern Conference Finals. Atlanta shocks the world in Game 1. This guy called the upset. He did. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
Bucks are laying 7.5. Totals 226 as they host Atlanta.
I'm going to go under the total here of 226 in Game 2. We saw this in Game 1 of the we saw this in Game 1 earlier between Phoenix and LA in the Western Conference Finals, I should say. That Game 1 went way over. Then defenses start to figure out your sets, figure out your plays. Game 2 goes way under. Usually Game 1 is going to be the highest scoring in a series as teams start to figure things out. So I'm going to go under in Game 2. Milwaukee's going to want to get physical with Trey, going to want to muck things up the way they did for the Brooklyn Nets to get by Kevin Durant in that series. So I don't think we're going to see quite the scoring output from Trey. We can assume some regression there. John Collins also had 23. Drew Holiday had 33. All of those point performances are about at the upper end of what you can expect from those three players. I think some regression is coming for them. Therefore, the total points will come down below 226, which I think what they have 228 was the total in Game 1.
225 was where it closed. 229, I think, was the final score.
So yeah, I think it comes. I think we see 10, 12 points less than the 229 total Game 1 and done.
I think it's smart analysis. The one thing that kept me off that was both teams were horrible from three-point range. So if they're any better, it could be an issue. But I do think that's smart. I would lean to that as well. I'm going to go player prop. I'm going to borrow from you. I'm going to go Trae Young under 30.5 points in this game. So Trae Young's scoring prop in Game 1 was 28.5. He goes off for 48. Everyone loves him. Everyone's getting excited. They bumped the number to 30.5. This is when we go under and we go against the grain. What happened with Devin Booker and Paul George in Game 2? Everybody, myself included, looked at that and thought these two are going to stay hot. They didn't. Booker got hurt. It's unfortunate. It happens. Paul George couldn't carry the load as much. Same thing's going to happen here with the adjustment. Remember, Trae Young shot 50% from the floor in Game 1. Is that going to happen again? Perhaps, but I don't think Milwaukee's going to let him get as many shots off. Drew Holiday was embarrassed, and Young was mocking him at the end of that game. You're going to get a better effort from the Bucks. Game number 3, we're going back in time to tonight as we jump back from the future. Vegas on the brink of elimination. Game 6, down 3-2. They're in Montreal. They are a minus 140 favorite against the Canadiens. The total in the game is 5. If you want to bet the over, minus 125. If you want to bet the under, plus 105.
A Vegas team clings to life. I don't know if they're going to win or not. I would probably take the Montreal Canadiens as a home dog. But the total.
A lot of Vegas fans in this room.
Sorry. The total's what I really like, Joe. It's at 5. I'm going to go under that. All but one game in this series has landed on exactly 5 goals. One of those games went to overtime that landed on 5 goals. The only one that did not land on 5 landed on 3, and that also went to overtime. Both of these teams are built on a defensive philosophy. The Canadiens especially, now that they're on their home ice, they're going to have that home crowd. They're going to try and ring out or put the foot on the throat of this Vegas team that is
graphic.
I know, man.
Really graphic.
But they're struggling. They're struggling for breath. The offense has just kind of gone out the window there for Vegas after they had looked so good in the first couple of series of this postseason. So with Carey Price in net, with Montreal being a defensive team on their home ice and wanting to kind of dictate that type of game, under 5. We haven't seen a single game go over 5. Now, there's been 4 pushes, but the only one that has cashed was an under, and it went to overtime as well, so under 5.
Nothing like a series where you're pushing every bet every single night.
You're not losing.
I am going to take the Canadiens because when I misspelled wallet, everyone in this room laughed at me. And I thought to myself, you know what? How about a spite bet against all these Vegas fans that are in here because of them laughing at my mistake? No, that's not the real reason. The real reason is I don't know why Montreal is an underdog here. If this was priced at even, sure. If Vegas was a small favorite, I would get it. But Montreal's winning the series. They've got the better goaltender. They're at home. It's a chance to close out. Vegas looks tired. They played a 7-game series against Minnesota for the right to go on to play Colorado in a very difficult 6-game series in which they prevailed. At some point, you're going to run out of gas, and Montreal looks like they're getting stronger and stronger with each and every game. I'll take the plus 125 with the Canadiens. So we go from the hardwood, to the ice, to the pitch. And if we're going to talk soccer, we've got two options. And unfortunately, Bear wasn't ready, so we had to go deep into the bullpen to bring in a good friend of the show, Dalen Cuff. He covers everything here at ESPN. He's a good friend of the show to cover Euro 2020. You don't seem like you're too excited with that introduction.
You just told everybody I'm second best. You prefer Bear, but you're bringing me out of the bullpen. You went deep into the bullpen. What kind of welcome is that? I think you're fantastic. I'm over here enjoying the show. I don't know how you spelled wallet. I would love to hear that. We're bringing in Denzel references. Howdy One didn't win for Malcolm X is ridiculous. And then you tell me I'm second choice. What are we doing here?
See, the beauty of what you just did there was not only come back at me for that, but you referenced so many parts of the show with your knowledge. You demonstrated why we take you over to the Bear any day of the week. Now, knowing that the Bear's
180 there.
Knowing that the Bear's not listening, he's going right.
Tell he's a married man, Dalen, because he knows how to flip the script real quick.
It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. All right, let's jump into some Euro 2020. We're on to the knockout stage here, and we're going to get a premier game right out of the gate. It's going to be England versus Germany. Germany surprising some people. They came in either the high ceiling, low floor. How would you bet England versus Die Mannschaft?
Die Mannschaft. That performance they turned in against Hungary, guys, was horrific. Now that said, I still think they're going to beat. I think they're going to beat England. I think this is a situation. Gary Lineker, to paraphrase him, football's a game played by 22 people, a kick around a ball for 90 minutes, and in the end, the Germans win. I think that's what we're looking at here. I think they find a way to get it done. And maybe England in penalties. England's got all that weight. They got a lot of pressure right now. They're not played well in their games. They've eked out results. And right now, this played at Wembley again. I get that, but I feel like there's a lot of pressure on them. So I'm going to go draw no bet, meaning I'm playing to win or lose. I'm taking the draw of the equation. You lose a little bit of the value there, but it's still plus money. And I'm taking the Germans to go through to find a way. I think they'll play more like they did against Portugal and less like they did against Hungary. And I think England's still trying to find themselves.
All right, Dalen, that's the marquee matchup in the round of 16. As we step back and take a look at any of the other matchups you see in the round of 16, any other bets that you want to share with Joe, me, and the viewers?
Yeah, I'm big on the Belgians. There's no doubt about that, guys. I was big on them before, and now I like when you look at their futures here, their numbers have gotten even better when you look forward to them. But I think they're going to beat Portugal, and it's a great matchup on ABC. Obviously, Sunday, 3 o'clock. That's prime time. I mean, it's a heavyweight clash. But I think Portugal's a team that's not meeting their potential right now either, and I think Belgium's getting more healthy. Axel Witsel, one of their holding midfielders, got a first performance coming off an Achilles injury since January. He played all 90 minutes in their last game. Eden Hazard started. He went the distance as well. Kevin De Bruyne, we saw him getting back into fitness. What he did in the Denmark game, came in at halftime, goal and an assist, flipped that game on its head. Romelu Lukaku may be the best striker in world football. I think they know exactly who they are, and they're getting healthy. They're going to build into this tournament. I think they take care of Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal. And then France, the over a goal and a half against Switzerland, it's minus money. I think France is still, we've yet to see them kick into second gear even. So I think they're not playing to their full potential. They're figuring out how Karim Benzema fits in there offensively, and Kylian Mbappe has not been as big a threat as you would have expected. I think they continue to improve. I think this is their best performance when their backs are obviously against the wall. So round of 16, they got to perform and move on. I think they can't tear up a Swiss team that can struggle at times to play out of the back like they like to. I think you're looking at a France team that's going to score a couple goals and give you the over in that one, team total.
You can still bet on who is going to end the tournament and win the Golden Boot, which is the award for the leading scorer. So based on the adjusted odds that exist now heading into the round of 16, who do you like to win that?
I'm going with the guy I had before, Romelu Lukaku. I got him at about plus 650 before the tournament started. He's got 3 goals right now. He's right behind Cristiano Ronaldo. I do think part of this betting, guys, obviously, is I think Belgium's going to go deep. I have Belgium winning it all. I know they're in a really tough draw, but that's why I think, I'm taking Lukaku. He's right behind Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo will play his last game against Belgium. Romelu will move forward, have more opportunities, and I think he would play a good price at plus 550. Again, one of the most informed strikers in the world. When he played at Inter Milan, led them to a Serie A championship in Italy, and he's been on a roll. And again, with all that attacking talent getting healthy behind him, he knows exactly what his job is. He's an outstanding player in terms of his technique and his tactical ability, along with literally a linebacker-like physique. The guy's a walking goal. I like him to get the Golden Boot.
Dalen, you mentioned the Belgians and how much you like them in the futures market, Lukaku especially. Any other squads or players you like for future bets as Euro 2020 continues?
Yeah, there's a couple interesting things. I think the Swedes, you got to look at the draw, obviously, guys. The brackets would really matter. That's why Belgians, they got it. Their numbers actually got better in terms of value. I think the bookmakers think it's less likely they're able to beat Portugal and beat Italy and beat France. That's their path. It ain't going to be easy, but they're at plus 900. But the Swedes, too, when you look where they're at in their bracket, they know exactly who they are. We talked about before, you got to know who you are and what you're about. They're very sound defensively, play a 4-4-2. They're going to make it hard to score on. Robin Quaison and Alexander Isak got their first start together as paired strikers, and they performed well in their last game. I like the Swedish team. It just has a little bit of a value play to potentially move on out of their first round and then beat England or Germany. As I said before, I think it'll be Germany because I think those two teams, as they're trying to find themselves, Sweden knows exactly what they're about. They know who they are. They play within themselves. I think they could eke out a result and maybe get to the semifinals as a 5-1 favorite, 5-1 value. I also like Belgium, like I keep saying. I'm obviously all over the Red Devils. To get them to the semifinals, it's 2-1. I will take that money as well. I'm all about that team, albeit their draw is tough. I really like where they're at.
Disregard my earlier trash talk, America. Dalen Cuff is, in fact, one of the absolute best in the business. Kind enough to spend some time with us here on Bet Down. We always appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Doesn't seem like you appreciate it, but I love you, Joe. Have a good one.
I'm contractually obligated to say it. He's the best. Love that dude. All right. Want to talk a little college football?
Let's do it. Might as well.
One note I want to throw out there for anyone who's new to betting soccer. In this round, after 90 minutes, there's extra time. Then, if it's still tied, you go into the extra frames and possibly penalty kicks. Two different types of bets. If you don't want to lose by the draw at the end of the whole thing, make sure you know that you're betting to win. There's a whole difference there. Read your bookmaker's rules. We can go into that on Twitter, too, if you need our help. All right. College football win totals. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you our favorite Power 5 conference win total over, favorite Power 5 win conference total, those words seem out of place, under, and then non-Power 5 conference win total. Either way, our favorite. So, Power 5 conference, right? Favorite over. Right. Who is it?
SEC.
Okay.
Missouri Tigers.
Ugh.
Okay, just hear me out, okay?
Did you go to school at Missouri?
That is fact.
You have literally over 100 options. No, you don't have over 100 options.
No, I don't.
70.
But this was a team last year that, in Eli Drinkwitz's first season there, went 5-5.
Okay.
And all 5 of those wins were after they had switched from Sean Robinson, who was a transfer from TCU, to true freshman quarterback Connor Bazelak. They went 5-3. They also had Alabama and LSU as the 2 SEC West teams they played on their schedule. Very difficult schedule. So Bazelak, after being very impressive as a true freshman, has now had another year in Eli Drinkwitz's system. The schedule should be easier this year because you avoid Alabama and LSU. A&M will be difficult, but you get Arkansas on the other side rebuilding. And Eli Drinkwitz not only brought in 4 or 5 potential starters from big-name schools to help replace outgoing talent, he also brought in Scott Linehan to be an offensive assistant, Steve Wilkes to be his defensive coordinator, and Jethro Franklin to be his defensive line coach. 2 of those guys, Linehan and Wilkes, have been head coaches in the NFL and coordinators recently, and Jethro Franklin has been a defensive line coach recently in the NFL for the Seahawks and the Raiders. Things are looking up in Columbia. I don't think they get to 9 or 10 wins, but 7 pushes and 8 wins, and I don't see them being a 6-6 team, even as a favorite. I think I have objectively looked at the Tigers that way.
Eli Drinkwitz sounds like a character from Boardwalk Empire. You ever see that show?
I have not. I know Buscemi is in it, right?
He is. He's fantastic.
Okay.
He's fantastic.
Drinkwitz doesn't have a Buscemi look, but he looks like he's 12, all kinds of energy, and he could be the best football coach they've had since Pinkel left.
All right. I'll give you
It's
right
only
to Missouri,
7.
of
It's
all
only
the teams.
7.
All right. I'm going to go even lower. I'm actually going to set the bar so much lower. I'm going to go ACC Georgia Tech over 5 wins as we enter year 3 of the Jeff Collins experiment. Now, Jeff Collins went 15-11 in 2 years at Temple. Temple's been a great booster program for a lot of guys who have gone on to bigger things. Just think Matt Rule from Baylor, who's now with the Carolina Panthers. Tech has an interesting schedule. They're going to open up with Northern Illinois, who went 0-6 last year. They're absolutely terrible. They're going to follow that up with FCS Kennesaw State, so we should be 2-0 right out of the gate. I have absolutely no reservations whatsoever about what's going to happen in the Clemson game. I know that that's a loss, but Pittsburgh is winnable. At Duke is extremely winnable. You have Virginia, but that's coming off a bye when you're on the road. Boston College is winnable. Georgia, Notre Dame, probably not winnable. I only need 6 wins.
Right.
This originally opened at 4.5 and got bet up to 5. So if we land on a push, we land on a push. But I think there's a lot of value in Georgia Tech. Remember, taking over for Paul Johnson, changing the system, changing the culture, changing the recruiting classes, it takes time. This is year 3. I think the Yellow Jackets pop this year. Not going to a major bowl or anything like that. But over 5 wins, I play it. All right. Now, the flip side. Favorite Power 5 conference win total under. Can't do Missouri here.
This one I like even more than Missouri going. This is my favorite bet in college football. The Big 12, Kansas under.
So
1.5.
Missouri's biggest rival.
Okay, well, Joe, last year with Les Miles and Lawrence, they go 0-9. Then this year, Les Miles, because of some things that happened at LSU, is relieved of his duties. They have to bring in unexpectedly a whole new coaching staff to a program that's been awful for years, ever since Mark Mangino's been gone. They have Coastal Carolina on their schedule as a non-conference game. That's going to be a loss. Duke as well. Okay, maybe you can win that. I doubt it. It's on the road. South Dakota at home is their most likable win. Everything else in the Big 12, you can already, with pen, put an L next to.
It would be a huge upset if they won any of those games in the right column.
Exactly. So I see at most 1 win on that schedule, and it delights me, even with the heavy juice at -210, to go under 1.5 with the Jayhawks.
All right, I can get behind it. If they win that first game of the season, you are just in sweat mode the rest of the way.
I'm not even sweating. I really am not even sweating if they win that first game.
Doug loves under 1.5 on UNLV as well, if you want a bonus pick. I am going to go with under 7.5 wins for the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten. Indiana took the world by storm last year. Everybody loves Indiana. Now, when we see something like that, you should immediately think about going the other way. Take a look at the schedule because it's likely, more likely than not, that they open the season 1-2. Iowa is going to be good this year. That road game is probably a loss. I'll give you Idaho, but Cincinnati's going to come to town in week 3, and that is a top 10 team with Desmond Ridder back at quarterback. You could be 1-3, 2 weeks away from heading to Penn State. You got to go to Maryland, who's going to be feisty this year. You got to go to Michigan, who I'm not very high on them, but some are. Ohio State is obviously a loss. And then at the end of the season, a bunch of games just up for grabs. The Minnesota one, if PJ Fleck gets that team back on track after the COVID year, is going to be tough. All the way around, I think it could start slow, and then I think it could steamroll on them. This is one of those situations where you want to find these teams that people were really down on last year or really high on last year. You want to go the other way. It happens with Texas every now and again. Whenever you hear Texas is back, think under. When they come off that terrible season, bet the over on Texas the following year. All right, non-Power 5 conference. So the best of the rest. You can go over or under. What do you like?
Liberty. The Hugh Freeze-led Liberty Flame, I believe.
The Flames.
9 wins. I'm going to go over that. When you take a look at the schedule, you know last year they were, I believe, 10-1. They bring back a guy, Malik Willis, at quarterback, running Hugh Freeze's system, who, by the way, Hugh Freeze is a Power 5 caliber coach. He's just coaching at Liberty because of some of his transgressions off the field. Malik Willis, all 5 offensive line starters are back. Hugh Freeze is head coach. They're a team that I think is going to very easily win at least 10 games.
I was not kidding when I said you would make an excellent hall monitor. You're bringing up everyone's issues, everyone's problems, everyone's misspellings. I mean, you just leave no stone unturned. Inspector Gadget over here.
Well, don't look in my closet.
Do not tell my wife this because she's a proud graduate, but under on the Buffalo Bulls at 8 wins. This is a remarkably high number for a team that was very good last year. The problem is that this is not going to be the same team. Buffalo lost its entire coaching staff to the University of Kansas. After Les Miles was shown the door, they had to make some late adjustments. They brought everyone over from Buffalo. So it's a new head coach starting this year, Maurice Linguist, who last year was coaching defensive backs to the Dallas Cowboys. Linguist has never in his life been a head coach at all. Doesn't mean he can't be good, but this was a late hire, and he doesn't have any experience. So he's coming in. He's got to put a staff together. And, oh, by the way, welcome to Buffalo, where 10 players have already entered the transfer portal to leave because the entire coaching staff went out the door. The fact that the bookmakers still have this at 8 is staggering to me. Play the under on the Buffalo Bulls, which leads us into the final segment of the week, Sucker Bet. One bet where we tried to tell you to watch out what the public is doing, go the other way. Now, we forgot to bring the suckers in here.
Gaskets?
That's on us. I was too busy trying to figure out how to spell wallet.
Couple of suckers.
Speaking of suckers.
I'll take the L on that one then.
What do you got?
Bucks are 7.5-point favorites in Game 2.
Oh, go right to the NBA?
Right to
Big
the
stuff.
NBA, yeah. This weekend, since we're done here on Bet for the week, that's still too many points that you're giving Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. We don't really need to go any further into it. We saw what happened in Game 1. I thought they'd be closer to like 3.5, 4-point favorites. Still 7.5. Too much. Do not bet the Bucks at that number.
Would be easy to look at the St. Louis Cardinals today and say to yourself, they're going to hammer the Pittsburgh Pirates. Don't bet that. It's a huge number. Play the Pirates at plus 143. The Cardinals were supposed to be good this year, and they're not. Now, the Pirates are as awful as we expected. They should be bad today as well. But the Cardinals have lost 15 of their last 19 games, and they're trotting Carlos Martinez out to the mound today. His ERA is north of 6. And if my numbers here are accurate, 25 earned runs and 10 walks over his last 14 2/3 innings pitched. The moral of the story here is simple. When a team is playing poorly, and their pitcher on the mound that day is having an awful go of it, they should not be a 153 favorite against anybody. Anybody.
Even the Pirates.
Even the Pirates, who are terrible.
And I'll admit, as a Cardinal fan, just so you know, I'm not a complete homer with that Mizzou, Kansas stuff. I agree with Joe. I would not touch the Cardinals tonight.
That's Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you back here Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, on every digital channel imaginable at ESPN.